Check out this week's all-new episode of The Sloan Blueprint.
Our purpose. Oh, I get excited talking about purpose. Our purpose in life is, yes, to empower and encourage and love and all of that towards others. The methodology of living out that purpose may change, but if you don't know why you are here, you'll constantly be trudging in the dark like that rabbi was. So it's important to have people in your life who will ask you, who are you now?
Yes.
And why are you here?
Here's the new beginnings. Here's the new beginnings. The pull up so independent. We pull up so independent.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Sloan Blueprint, a couplepreneurs podcast. I am your co-host, Nicole Sloan.
And I'm Eric Sloan.
And y'all, we're kicking off season 2. Uno dos. We are so excited, y'all, for season 2. We've got some amazing guests, some amazing content.
Phenomenal.
Just phenomenal.
I'm looking forward to it.
We are looking forward to it, and we want you to continue to like and subscribe. And Eric, you tell them how to get there.
You see how it is right here? Follow it all the way over to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and do everything that it needs to do as far as subscribing. You see that little button? Click.
Look, and tell
and then
everybody.
You're subscribing, then you get everything that we have for you.
That's right. And tell everybody. Don't forget, tell all your friends, because this episode, y'all are not going to want to miss. We've got Dr. Jevonnah Ellison with us.
Also known as
Lady J. And she is talking about goal setting. So listen, tune in. Don't forget, as Eric said, subscribe, like, tell your friends, tell your pastor, your mama, your cousin, your sisters, tell everybody. But stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. Let's go.
Helping high achievers, giving them the courage, the confidence, and the clarity that they need to start and grow their own business. So what that looks like is helping them to clarify their purpose, amplify their strengths, and really thrive financially from what they already know while keeping God first in the process. A lot of the clients that I coach they are entrepreneurs. They are men and women who know that their life is meant for something more than they're currently doing right now. They're gifted, they're talented, they're someone who is just drawn to serving and helping others. And so my job is to help them make an even bigger impact in the world by maximizing their potential. You know, the thing that really makes coaching with me different is that I am committed, and my company is committed to keeping God first in business. That is, to me, our greatest strength, because keeping God first is really everything that I have. Everything that we have comes from Him. So I'm committed to helping high achievers who want to start and grow their own business do that while honoring God in the process. Remember this: where God guides, God provides. And where God directs, God protects. Let God direct your life. Be a responsible steward of the gifts that He's given you, and live your life to its max potential by becoming the entrepreneur, the leader, the person that God has designed you to be.
Affectionately known as Lady J.
Lady J.
So if you hear us saying Lady J versus Dr. J or Dr. Jevonnah, then it's all the same.
Everybody calls her Lady J. But we are so glad to have you, and we really appreciate you taking the time out to just come and sit and talk to us and school us a little bit, Lady J.
Oh my goodness. Nicole and Eric, I cannot tell you all, first of all, how honored I am to be here, and then how proud I am. You guys have taken entrepreneurship to a whole nother level.
Thank you.
You have brought excellence to the industry. And when I see the two of you all working together as a couple and addressing issues that not many people are willing to talk about, you are to be commended. I am honored to be here. When you called and asked me if I would come, I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to pray about it. I didn't have to do anything like that. It was an absolute yes, because I love both of you.
Well,
and I see the hand of God upon your life. And I know that God has got so many great things in store for you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, hold on.
We receive all of that.
I know we may need some tissue on this set. I love these two.
Oh, goodness. Well, thank you so much. And we're just extremely elated that you're here with us.
Absolutely.
So we probably want you to go ahead and just tell people a little bit about yourself. Yeah, as I said, you're a serial entrepreneur.
Yes, yes.
So before we dive into our discussion for today.
Sure, sure. Well, I am, as they said, Dr. Jevonnah Lady J. Ellison. I am married to the most amazing pastor at New Life Church of God in Christ, Dr. Terry Ellison. We pastor one church in 7 locations in Montgomery. I also have one in Birmingham. And I have been in entrepreneurship now for close to 18 years. I've been coaching informally for the last 10 and as a business for the last 8. And I tell you, it really came from when one of my very best friends passed away. The cancer diagnosis came in October, and she was gone just 2 months later.
Oh, wow.
And she was only 43. And I knew that she had wanted to do so much with her life. And she would tell me things like, Jevonnah, Lady J, I wasn't Lady J then, I was Jevonnah when we worked together. You know, I can't wait to write that book one day. I can't wait to start that business one day. I want to get married and have children one day. And one day came too late. And I remember I was working at our church learning center as director there when I got the news that she had passed. And on my lunch break, I ran to the sanctuary at Annex 5, and I fell on my knees, and I was a teary mess. The tears just wouldn't stop, and I said, God, please don't let another person I know die with their song still inside of them. And so I prayed that prayer nearly 8 years ago now. And today God has blessed us to have a global coaching business that touches the lives of entrepreneurs all over the world.
Wow. Today's discussion, we had planned to talk about goal setting a little bit. I know we tend to make resolution after resolution, year after year, unfortunately, right? And no one sticks with resolutions. And in my opinion, if we're just more intentional about setting goals for ourselves and our businesses, our families, then I think we'll tend to make more progress and have more attainable results.
You know, it's interesting because when it comes to resolutions, people, you know, will make, they call them New Year's resolutions. And what we like to call a goal is you're putting a deadline date on that. Because if you just make the resolution, oh, I just want to lose that 10 pounds. How many 10 pounds have we been trying to lose? Or I want to write that book. So instead of saying, you know, I'm just going to make this resolution, it's just a vague wish. The best thing to do is set a goal and say, you know what, instead of saying, you know, I really want to write that book this year, I really want to lose that weight, then say, you know what, instead of saying that vague goal, say something like, I'm going to write the table of contents by Friday, September 1st at 7 a.m. That puts a lot more detail on the goal. You're able to put it on your schedule because what gets scheduled gets done, instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to do this and then never calendar it. The calendar is one of our best friends when it comes to having a successful year.
Awesome. So you're recommending making it more specific.
Absolutely.
And so what is it? I guess it's SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable.
That's right. Measurable, actionable,
there we go.
time bound.
See?
Yeah. And then the goal has to be exciting too. Because a lot of times as high achievers, and I know that's a lot of people who listen to this podcast, because they see you all as examples and they want to learn from you. They want to be like you. They want to say, hey, how can I have more excellence in my life and in my business like Eric and Nicole? And so what they have to learn how to do is say, you know what? The goal has to be exciting to me, but I can't follow someone else's path. Because a lot of times people are checking off boxes. We love to check off boxes, but sometimes those boxes never needed to be there in the first place. So making sure our goals are aligned with where we really want to be is so important.
Right, and specific to your purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah, not ours.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because I know I'm guilty of that. Even for this year, I said, I'm not making any resolution. I don't know if I've done it in the past couple of years or a few years. Not making resolutions. I am just going to set some goals. And as you said, look, I told myself, I said, we're going to write this vision and make it plain. and that's it. And you know, just try to make things attainable where I can, you know, where it's within my reach.
Right.
Well, not necessarily within my reach. God may say otherwise.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, having a vision and being able to look beyond, I guess, what you can see for yourself. Because sometimes you can look at TV, you can try to look at somebody else's goal, like, oh, I want to do that, but that's not necessarily for you, that's for them. So you have to do what's for you. What's for you is for you, and do the things that God has, I guess, put in you to do.
I love that. It reminds me of the saying, inspiration without implementation is close to useless. Because we can get inspired all day, and that's the problem a lot of people have with goal setting. First of all, goal setting, where do I start? It's confusing, it's too much, or I don't know where to begin. But you can get inspired all day long, but unless you take that inspiration and put it on paper, okay, God, what are you telling me to do as a result of how I've been inspired? And then you put that on paper. And it's so important. We think paper, just write it down, or I'll put it in an app. It's a scientific study that says, the act of writing down your goal, not just putting it in an app. Yeah, I'm all for apps and technology. I love it. But actually putting pen to paper and saying, this is what I want to achieve by this date, it just does something, gets it in your head a little bit differently, doesn't it?
He thinks you're hurting his business over here.
Do I have the right
No, technology. But you're right. Okay. Because I'm a writer. And I've said that, Lady J.
Yes.
I'm a writer.
Yes.
And I believe in my MacBook and iPad and laptop and all the other, but I like to write because I like to be able to check things off too.
Yes,
It just, to me, it just means something.
Yeah.
To be able to have it, like you said, put pen to paper.
See, so for me, I use apps quite a bit, but I know I need to start writing it down because it is true. Once you write it down, it sticks in your mind. It becomes a lot more clear.
It does. And then with writing it down, I'll add this, it's important not just to write it down, but then when we do, we have to keep it in front of us. And I'll refer to this, there's a bookmark that you can put inside of the planner. I'll talk about it a little bit more. But it's on here where you actually review your goals, and then you choose your daily big 3 items. We'll talk about that later. And then you actually go back and share a win. But what this does is it keeps the goal top of mind so that after you've written it down, every day when you go into your planner, you see that goal that you set for November 2022 or for December 2025 or for whenever. Because it's good to write it down, but we have to keep it in front of us.
I agree. Very good point. What about this, this new year, new me concept? What do you think is a better approach to that? We say that too. Well, new year, new me.
Yeah.
We say it, but are we really doing something?
Ooh.
Are we putting any feet on our faith, so to speak?
I love that. I love that phrase, feet on your faith. People say, pray for me. Are you praying with your feet?
There you go.
As well. But yeah, there is a better way. Instead of new year, new me, upgrade that. And because anybody can do something really well for a short amount of time. But as a marathon runner, you don't finish 26.2 miles in the blink of an eye. Not unless you're one of those runners from Kenya and you've been training all,
Olympics.
I celebrate those brothers and sisters. They're amazing. But you have to run at the pace that you train for. And so one of the things that we can do, instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to sustain this for only a short amount of time, it's important to surround yourself with people of excellence if you're going to level up your growth. Like yourselves. The people that listen to this podcast, I applaud you because you're investing in your personal growth, right? You're investing in your development. You're investing in the next level that you want to go to. We can always learn from one another. I love learning. I'm a perpetual student. I will always have my own coach, right? As a coach, I believe it's so important that you sit at the feet of others that you can learn and grow from. And then too, instead of just saying, well, new year, new me, you can say, you know what? I'm going to choose to have a personal development plan. So one of the things I like to talk about is to beginning entrepreneurs. If they say, oh, Lady J, I'm going to start this business and God said I'm going to be extra successful and all these amazing things are going to happen. And I'll say, wonderful. I celebrate that. Now show me your calendar.
Wow.
And if in your calendar I don't see dates blocked off for when you're learning about how to set up a website, about learning for how you're going to do your technology, about learning the latest real estate technologies or who your coach is or whatever, then I question. I say, you know what, how serious are you really about the goal? Because having a personal development plan, it creates that accountability for yourself.
Yes. Wow. This is so good. Gotta go back and watch this. Take notes. This is so good, I'm telling you.
Well, and I like what you said as far as the personal accountability, but also the environment.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
environment is key. And then when you're doing personal development, making sure that Of course, we're in the pandemic and COVID right now, so a lot of people are a little bit more reluctant to go to conferences and things like that. But when you're going to these conferences and putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself in an environment where you can learn and see something higher than yourself. Because sometimes if you only see or stay within a particular environment or see the man in the mirror, then that's the only thing. Whatever you see in that mirror is only what's going to be reflected back to you.
That's right.
So now you have to go outside and go to different conferences, have different coaches that can actually visualize sometimes for you and see a larger vision in you than you see in yourself.
Right.
Higher. That's good.
Higher Lady J.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very important. And I can relate to that too, because a lot of times we do get stuck with the norm of being in our environment. But we personally had talked about, we now know that God has blessed us, but there's still more.
Yes.
And we've got to get out of the comfort zone, our area, and of course with like you said, with the pandemic and everything, we've been limited with travel, but we've got so many other avenues now that we can use. I mean, everything is basically gone virtual. So there's no excuse. No excuse.
That's such a great point, and it reminded me, I was listening to a study the other day, just in the last 6 months alone, I believe it was over 800,000 globally, new entrepreneurs coming into the online space, listening to podcasts. So this is the new way of growth. So you all are positioning yourselves in such a way to reach people from all over the globe who would be able to say, wow, I want to be able to learn from them. I want to be able to do what they're doing. But yeah, the voices that we listen to is so important. And I want us to say this about you too as well. One of the things that I notice about the most exceptional leaders is that they have this, all the leaders that I've seen that do exceptionally well have this quality: humility. Your ability to set personal goals and achieve those goals and learn from others, it is rooted and based. Yes, you want a desire. Yes, you have a hunger to do more, achieve more, accomplish. But the humility that I see in both of you and how I see God blessing you, wow, there is so much to be said for that. Because so many people, it's easy for them to get to the level of success that you all have achieved and just say, you know what? I'm gone. I'm leaving everybody behind, and nobody can tell me anything. Nobody can teach me anything. No, it's so important that as we grow, we become even more touchable, even more reachable to those that God puts in our path. So I just want to say that I've noticed that about you all. Even when, and I know, but let me just say this, even when we were cleaning the church once and we were getting it ready for an event, these two came out, nothing, not on their agenda, came out and helped to clean that church and get it to the level of excellence where we need it to be. And I'm telling you, it's things like that, where you plant seeds in the lives of others, it'll come back to bless you.
I said amen. And we just believe that God has empowered us to empower others. That's who we are, what we do.
Beautiful.
So now I remember too mentioning when we were talking, when I invited you to come, you mentioned that you had just completed the goal setting course or certification, right? With David Wyatt.
Michael Hyatt.
Michael Hyatt. I don't know why David was in my head.
It rhymes.
Look, hey, David, Michael, same thing. But with Michael Hyatt.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that, Lady J. What made you even enroll in the course?
A desire to serve with even more excellence. Knowing that I can always learn and grow even all the more. While people may say, I want to come to Lady J's conference about goal setting, I realize that I want to deliver the best value to my clients. And so that means I'm a continual learner. I'm a continual student. And Michael Hyatt is the former CEO of Thomas Nelson Publishers. And he was one of my very first coaches when I started my business. And so he and his wife, Gail, absolutely phenomenal. Speaking of Gail, she has a quote I love, and it is, people lose their way when they lose their why. And so one of my goals in focusing people when they come into the training on goal setting, and we have other trainings as well, but is helping them to find their why. Why are you doing, why do you have all those things in your list in the first place? Do they really need to be there? Or are they there because somebody expects you to have them there? And so all these things. So Michael Hyatt, and the training is called Full Focus Certified Pro. So what we do is we take people through the certification process or through the planning process of helping them to set 3 daily big things that they want to accomplish for the day. So most people, when they have a to-do list, they have 10 or 15 things on that list. What we do is we say, get it down to 3. And of course, wow, how am I going to do that? But the less you have on your plate, the more you can get done. And so we dive into what that looks like, your daily big 3. We also talk about the quarterly preview and also about what it means to revisit your weekly preview so that on Sunday night, you're not in a frenzy about what the next week is going to hold. You're able to get everything out of your head, what you want to plan for that next upcoming week. And then you're able to put cross some stuff out so that you can create white space on your calendar.
Right.
So it's a wonderful training. There are currently about 200 certified pros all over the globe right now, and we are committed to helping other leaders really get focused in on what their goals are.
Now, how do you narrow that list down? I was sitting here in my mind thinking, so how do you narrow it down from 15 to 3?
Exactly. That comes in really knowing what your priorities are, okay? It's called the Daily Big 3, and we may refer to a list that we have a little bit later about it. But what you want to do is you want to align those daily Big 3 with whatever goal or project that you're working on at the time. Okay, so for example, let's say something is you're working on your next book, or let's say you're working on your next podcast guest, or whatever it may be. Your daily big 3 would then fall under the umbrella of what that project is. So for example, call guest, email follow up, and then write out the main points. And then that would be the daily big 3 under the podcast element. Okay, now that's for your daily big 3. What you can also do is say, you know what, I want to blend some personal stuff in there as well. And the trick comes in cutting the clutter. Because it's so easy to say, I got all these things I want to do and accomplish, right? It's hard. But some goals are habit goals. Right? They're things that you do, like you don't have to write brushing your teeth down on your, I hope not, on your daily big 3, right? Because it's a habit. But there are other things you do want to write down so that you can accomplish them. Does that help?
It does help.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
No, I like the part as far as making sure you understand your why. Because your why is going to determine everything, regardless if you are a project manager, if you're an entrepreneur, or whatever it is that you may be doing or want to be, that why is going to be that determining factor. So once you understand that why, then that can help steer you down the right direction and help you get down that path a lot quicker because you understand your why. That's going to be that motivation.
That's right.
So.
Right.
That's right.
And so in saying that too, so that makes me think about your why. How does a person who lacks direction, that doesn't know why or how do they get on track?
I love that question.
To be really productive.
No, you're right. I love that question. And in fact, there's a story, and I'm going to refer to it here because it goes along the path of the exact question that you asked. There's an old story about a man named Akiva. Okay, he's a rabbi, or he was a rabbi, and he lived in the same area as Jesus, and just outside of Capernaum. Akiva had been in the village to gather some supplies. Walking back to his cabin, he was silently reciting scriptures in his mind over and over again. He was deep in thought when he came to a fork in the road, okay? And he went to the right rather than taking him to the path that would return him home. This is answering your question about people who lack direction, right? What is their why? Okay? As he continued now on the wrong path, darkness set in. And on top of that, the fog had also settled. But the old rabbi, even though he was going in the wrong direction, he kept trudging along. How many people know they're going in the wrong direction, but they keep going that way anyway? So the rabbi kept on walking in the wrong direction, but he was unaware that he was farther and farther away from his intended destination. Suddenly a voice came through the darkness. "Who are you? And why are you here?" The old rabbi stopped momentarily at the disruption, reciting his scriptures, and then he continued on, scratching his head aside. What did I know I'm hearing things. But again, the voice came through the darkness, now with more urgency. "Stop! Who are you? And why are you here? Rousing his senses, he realized he was going the wrong way. Was this the voice of God? Straining to see through the darkness, he recognized that it was the Roman fortress, the military barracks, and slowly he realized they were coming from the guard on duty. Who are you, and why are you here? But him being a rabbi and a scholar, he answered a question with a question. And he asked the guard, young man, how much do they pay you to stand guard and ask those questions of those who approach these military gates? Rather than to be defensive, the man said, they pay me $100 every 4 weeks. The rabbi then replied, I will repay or I'll double your pay if you come with me, stand at the door of my cabin, and ask me those same 2 questions every morning as I leave for the day. Now here's the main point. Those in Jesus' time and those of today who were serious about their calling and their purpose face that question for you. Who are you and why are you here? So I read that story, or I shared that story for those of you listening, so that if you are lacking any kind of direction, if you don't know your why, and you're losing your way, like that rabbi was. He was just going on and on about his way, and he was lost in the darkness. The question people that have no direction need to ask is, who am I? And why am I here? Rick Warren wrote a book called What on the Earth Are You Here For Anyway? Our purpose. Oh, I get excited talking about purpose. Our purpose in life is, yes, to empower and encourage and love and all of that towards others. The methodology of living out that purpose may change, but if you don't know why you are here, you'll constantly be trudging in the dark like that rabbi was. So it's important to have people in your life who will ask you, who are you now?
Yes.
And why are you here?
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Yes, it is. Very, really thought-provoking, too.
Yeah, I love that story.
Yeah, I was saying a great story to tie into.
Yeah.
What that's awesome. I like that.
Know who you are. You got to know you.
And that takes time. People have to experiment. People have to ask good questions and surround themselves with people who can tell them or who can speak life into them. Because so many people have people around them who don't speak life. And so they're constantly searching, who am I? Why am I here? I've got people in their 60s and 70s who are a part of my programs who are realizing that who they were in their 20s was never who they were supposed to be later in life. You know?
Right.
And so really discovering who you are and why you're here, that's one of the first steps to really getting clear on your goals.
Yes. And I think one of the most important things is to consulting God about
Absolutely.
what you're supposed to be doing, where you're supposed to be, your purpose.
Yes.
Not what anybody else tells you.
Right.
Because people we know will lead you wrong. And not even necessarily intentionally, but some people have good intentions.
Right.
But sometimes they don't know what they're supposed to be doing themselves.
Now there's
their
a
purpose.
good point. Yeah.
You know, so how can they lead you or lead me?
And people will give advice based on their lens of perspective and what they see. Or, you know, this happened to me when such and such and such.
Right.
And so they give that advice based upon what they've gone through.
Right.
So it's so important to have a good mixture of different opinions.
Yes. Wow, y'all, what a phenomenal episode. I don't know about you, but I gained a lot of knowledge and insight just listening to Lady J. I was just soaking it all up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely learned a lot, especially about myself as it relates to note taking. So instead of putting it in the computer, actually getting pen and paper and actually writing it down, it actually sticks in your memory a little bit more. So
It does.
Make it plain and write it down and make it plain.
That's right, write the vision and make it plain. So we hope you guys have enjoyed it. I don't know about the viewers, but that was so important for us to know how to set goals for the year and even from here on out. And also just learning more about your purpose. So please, y'all, continue to subscribe, to like, to share.
Absolutely.
And I know
following on all social media platforms. So you got it on Instagram, you got Facebook, you also have YouTube. So make sure that you follow, like, subscribe. So whenever we do release content, you guys can get it immediately.
Yes, firsthand. All right, so y'all stay tuned. Listen to this episode. Hey, you can go listen 2 or 3 times if you want to. Tell your friends about it. Tell your family. Season 2 is going to be phenomenal. You do not want to miss. So y'all stay tuned. Be blessed.